issue do you see, because you're talking to a lot of brokers, what issues do you see with them scaling or getting off the ground? Is getting off the ground more common, or is scaling a more common problem for your people?
I think it's getting off the ground because they get analysis paralysis, and they just don't jump in.
Yep. And a lot of the ones you're talking to already have a book technically they could start reaching out to, or they could start having somebody on the team reach out to. And so I always wonder, because you guys are, tapping into the financial services people that are already part of the Magellan group, and they already have a book. I always wonder this, them and group agents never seem to be able to tap into what they already have. And it's such a harmless thing, I think, to just reach out and be like, by the way, we can help with your Medicare or healthcare, and then that could start an entire referral network off of that side that then leads to more financial wins too. Group agents are crazy though. Like, I can never understand why they can't get more of that business into the Medicare side.
Yeah, I think what we see and the hurdle that we're working on getting through, for example, is we have a financial services practice who they're killing it. They're doing $60 million in annuity. So they have a big book for the clients and for the new agent to get into, and they're willing to go find somebody to sell it. But then those agents feel like they're on an island because they go through training with us, but we're, 6 states away. So I can do so much training, but then it's like they need a little more support right there one-on-one, and their advisors think, this is cake. I don't know what the problem is, but they couldn't sit down and do it. There's that gap between an annuity versus a Medicare sale, and what a different sale it is. Yeah. So that's the piece that we're trying to figure out.
Yeah. So I know, like, when we're trying to, like behind the agency, we talk about hiring. We're hiring people. We hire, what do we say? Smart, hungry, and humble. Those are my LOAs, my inside sales employees, right? But like when we started pushing to build out the annuity side, it actually helped that I had Stark, who is more of a high DI person, on the DISC assessment. So he's not necessarily, I'm not saying he's not smart, not hungry, or not humble, but what I'm saying is he's very hungry, and that hunger allowed him to go after, and I was to go after the annuity sales in a way that we weren't able to tap into before. I didn't have time to tap into it. So I think the reverse engineering side of these guys is they may be looking for an employee that'll do what they tell them to, but that employee may not be aggressive enough to really like pave the way and figure it out. And so it can be a balancing act of creating an opportunity where somebody can come in and pave the way, but the opportunity is rich enough to keep them there so that they can start to build those smart, hungry, and humble employees. So I don't know. My first thought when you're saying it is that they need to be hiring people that are, moderately aggressive at first. That first person has to be, it's almost like it has to be him or her, like that leader, that high D personality for the model until they get it off the ground. And then the people they need to hire should be more employee types, the stabilizers of the business. But they need that person to go out and figure it out and pace set. And them pace setting on financial production is never going to pace set, a second tier employee, or I would say second tier, like somebody who will say, okay, you do that. If that's what you do, I'm just going to follow you. I'm going to do that. So for them, I think they really need to find somebody that's more aggressive. That would be, and that's hard because those people you have to entice in a little bit different way. Like they're not going to be fired up over a job. They might want to feel like they have some sort of ownership stake or some sort of incentive based on overall production to build that machine alongside of them and see the value in building it alongside of them versus just going out and building it on their own. So I could see that being an issue for them for sure. And I know they're not going to do it because if you're doing $60 million in annuities and you're the principal and you're like, I'm going to get Medicare over here, like, why would you stop? What you're doing is hyper profitable and it's good utilization of your time. The other caveat to it is
absolutely
the great employee types and not have somebody else pave the way. They're just going to have to go out and do it on their own. And that's where your job is really hard, is convincing them that they have to stop doing what they're doing for just a moment to pave the way on the Medicare side or find that person that's going to do that. It's not an easy job, Kim.
Yeah, and one thing that they've ran, yeah, it's fun. One of the things they've ran into is they have two options, right? They can go get somebody who's totally green, brand new, and teach them, and then it's getting up and going. What do they pay them for it to make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then if they want somebody who's already out there selling, what they run into is they know what they can make. They're not willing to give up some of their money. So it's kind of what do they bring to the table? And so it's been a very interesting process.
Do you guys find yourselves selling to finding the independent guy that already knows what he or she can make, and then selling them on the value of partnering with that local broker? Like, I feel like you guys are almost like Match.com for a financial advisor and a quality, Medicare broker.
1,000%. And normally I'll get on the phone with them in those interviews and we kind of talk through what Magellan brings to the table and, kind of all the things that you and I know that an agent by themselves out in the field don't have access to. They don't have to go hire their own designers or different kinds of things. And a lot of times that'll sway them over, but it, just depends.
Yeah. Well, like I've met a couple of guys like Tanner, he would make, like, I could imagine, like, I'd hire that guy in a second because he's one of those people that would be like a pillar, hardworking employee in a system. But I also think he might need to have somebody that inspires him to do it a little bit. Like, he's one of those guys that I know, like, in our system would work really, really well. And I know he's got a great opportunity where he's at, but I don't know how his connection with them is. But those types of people could build really good segments of those businesses, but they definitely are going to have that inspiration. I think you guys are having to give them the inspiration because the broker or the financial advisor is kind of like, just like, oh, hey, here you go sell it, go do it.
Yeah, Tanner's definitely kind of one of our model offices. And so he gets involved. He helps with the trainings. And he's one of the guys that we do a lot with. But he absolutely has that perfect opportunity where it's like, hey, get in and do this. And it'll pretty much be your side of the business to run. He's the principal of Medicare and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's just finding people who have, I guess, that tenacity like he does. And we know they're out there, but.
Right.
Absolutely. It's time to train like a guru. Go Guru University is an ever-expanding, cutting-edge, interactive training platform with live weekly coaching calls constructed to train agents efficiently and compliantly. Go Guru University offers a library of training modules explaining Medicare A to Z, face-to-face and telesales training, SEO and other marketing, and much more. Visit goguru.university to schedule your one-on-one demo today.